Do your consumer marketing efforts feel complicated? Experian Automotive delivers data-driven marketing solutions to find new customers and keep loyal ones. Drive measurable results with trusted data and expert support. Learn more at Experian.com/automotive.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Friday, May 30th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Jake Neer in Detroit, in for Kellen Walker. Today on the show, a day after being deemed illegal, many tariffs are temporarily back in place. Ford says the big, beautiful bill would put a major battery factory in peril, and Volvo halts U.S. output due to a part shortage. Plus, Rex Gingerich of Chariot Automotive Group talks about how his stores are tackling the tech shortage.
They're really driven, sharp kids. We're real excited about the way this is playing out.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
A U.S. Court of Appeals has temporarily reinstated certain tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. That comes one day after a trade court ruled that so-called reciprocal tariffs and levies established in response to drug trafficking were issued illegally. The auto industry was processing the impact of the initial ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade as the appeals court was considering the reinstatement of the levies. The court decisions did not address President Donald Trump's tariffs specifically targeting imported vehicles and certain auto parts. Those tariffs remain in place.
Volkswagen Group is holding fair and constructive talks with the U.S. government on tariffs and wants to make further investments in the country. That's according to CEO Oliver Blume, who spoke with German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung. Blume said, quote, "So far, we have had absolutely fair, constructive discussions. I was in Washington myself, and we have been in regular dialogue ever since. VW and other German automakers are in talks with Washington over a possible import tariff deal. Sources tell Reuters that they're seeking to use their U.S. investments and exports as leverage to soften any blow."
Ford Motor Chairman Bill Ford says construction of a new EV battery factory in Michigan would be in peril if it loses production tax credits. Congressional Republicans' so-called Big Beautiful Bill could make the plant ineligible for the subsidies, in part because of its ties to Chinese battery maker CATL. Bill Ford says if that were to happen, it would harm the business case for the $2.5 billion plant.
The thing that I keep saying to the politicians is it doesn't matter if you're Democratic or Republican, whether you believe in things like production tax credits or you don't. We made a certain investment based upon a policy that was in place. It's not fair to change policies after all the expenditure has been made.
Ford was speaking during an onstage interview at the Mackinac Policy Conference on Mackinac Island, Michigan. The legislation is now in the U.S. Senate, where changes are likely.
And Volvo Cars has halted production at its U.S. assembly plant because of a part shortage. The Swedish automaker builds the EX90 and Polestar 3 electric crossovers in Ridgeville, South Carolina, for the U.S. and global markets, except China. Volvo spokesman Russell Datz confirmed that the work stoppage began late last week. He did not disclose the affected part or say when output at the underutilized factory might resume. And those are today's headlines. So, Jamie, I'm tempted to ask about tariffs today, but we're going to hold off on that until our weekend drive edition of the show. That'll be available Saturday morning. Instead, let's talk a bit about this big, beautiful bill and its implications for the industry. We just heard from Bill Ford, who says that a critical EV battery factory here in Michigan could be in jeopardy under that legislation. What do you think are the larger possible impacts on automakers and suppliers?
Yeah, last year there was a lot of talk about stranded capital as automakers shifted their strategies after suppliers had invested to support them in their EV efforts. Now we're kind of seeing Ford being whipsawed in the same way by the federal government. Some of that's about the relationship with China, but the big bill has plans to pull all the investment tax credits for clean energy, certainly for battery manufacturing. So a lot of other manufacturers could find themselves in the same case. Of course, there's other elements of the bill that affect the auto industry, especially on EVs. It's going to take away the tax credits on EVs, new EVs and used EVs. It adds fees for EVs and hybrids to make up for the gasoline taxes that they don't pay. On the plus side for auto sales, it does include a provision to make auto loan interest tax deductible. It's a small benefit, but I guess, every little bit helps.
As a former legislative reporter myself, I am going through some possible solutions or tweaks in my brain. I wonder if automakers who've already made investments could be grandfathered in some way. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of solution they're actually advocating for here.
Yeah, those are certainly options. But, as we've seen so far, a lot of the money that was allocated by Congress, the new administration and maybe even the new Congress wants to pull back so that they can reallocate it toward tax cuts or other policy priorities.
Well, we'll be on close watch on this in the coming days and weeks, I'm sure, over on autonews.com and the pages of Automotive News. Coming up, we'll hear how one dealer in Indiana is recruiting more service techs starting in their high school years. That's next on Daily Drive.
Are you an automotive marketer navigating today's rapidly evolving landscape? Finding new customers and nurturing existing relationships can feel like a complex journey. But what if you had a powerful engine fueled by trusted data to guide your way? That's where Experian Automotive comes in. We understand the challenges you face. Today's personalized consumer journeys demand intelligent planning and precise execution. That's why we offer the Experian Marketing Engine, a coordinated suite of data-driven solutions designed to help you develop, execute, and most importantly, measure effective marketing campaigns. At the heart of our solutions is Experian's trusted data and a dedicated automotive team committed to your success. We empower you to drive measurable results with unique data insights, including identity solutions to help you better connect with your ideal customers with greater accuracy by cleaning and enriching your first-party data. Consumer and Market Insights helps you gain a deeper understanding of market trends and consumer behavior, enabling you to better target consumers. Targeted Audiences to help you pinpoint and target the right prospects at the right time with the right message. Better data truly connects you to better results. Stop guessing and start driving measurable impact with Experian Automotive. Ready to transform your automotive marketing? Visit Experian.com/automotive to learn how our data-driven solutions can help you find new customers, keep loyal ones, and navigate the road ahead with confidence. That's Experian.com/automotive. Take control of your marketing journey today.
The 2025 Automotive Golf Classic is coming up soon, raising funds for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan. Players will tee off Monday, June 16th at St. John's Resort in Plymouth, Michigan.
Attendees will get exclusive access to the third annual Automotive News Supplier Panel discussion just prior to tee time at 9 a.m. This year's remarks will feature Paul Thomas, President of Bosch North America, along with Colin Shaw, President of MEMA Original Equipment Suppliers. The executive guests will discuss challenges for suppliers stemming from the current trade landscape, new U.S. tariffs, and other critical issues facing the supply chain.
For more information about this event, reach out to Tiffany Sula at the Boys and Girls Clubs at tsula@bgcsm.org or to Philip Nussel, AGC Executive Chairman at pnussel@crane.com. Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Jake Neer. Chariot Automotive Group in Lafayette, Indiana has several programs aimed at recruiting and training the next generation of automotive technicians. Chariot owner Rex Gingerich spoke with Automotive News senior editor Dan Shine about how the group selects local high school juniors and seniors, as well as trade school students, to be apprentices at one of its dealerships.
Rex, thanks for joining me on the Fixed Ops Friday edition of Daily Drive.
Dan, thanks so much for having me. Glad to be with you and speak with you today.
So I want to talk about you. Chariot Automotive Group there in Indiana does some great stuff. We write so often about the shortage of technicians, and your group is really trying to tackle that. I guess not only for your own needs, but for sharing the wealth a little bit amongst your dealer peers throughout Indiana or elsewhere. Tell me, I guess, first of all, what's the mindset and the culture there at Chariot that makes you kind of really lean in to all these kind of different outreach initiatives that you have to find and to build new technicians?
Yeah. Oh, great question, Dan. I think, I got out of college, it'd be 38 years ago, and came back to our family dealership and started working. And, 37, 38 years ago, there was a shortage of technicians. It's just kind of been one of those things that I think people know exist and have just learned to live with. And through the years, we just really wanted to try to solve that problem. We were involved for many years with GM's ASEP student program. I think Chrysler had a program called CAPS, if I remember right, and we did those as well. But at the end of the day, stealing a technician from another dealer just wasn't a solution. So through the years, we've worked with the local area career center, with Ivy Tech State College. We've really just been open to training and learning. And I think really in my career as well, the opportunity for training that I've had with General Motors Dealership Management Development, with NADA Dealer Candidate Academy. I've been involved in a 20 group for 26 years now, I believe, 29 years, I think. And so I've just realized that, training and learning and, expanding your mind and the way you think is just so vital to continue to grow. That just through the years, I've just personally had a huge interest in training and growing our people. So, a few years ago, we just had an opportunity to get involved with these students. And so we're finishing up our second year of work-based learning. So we have high school juniors and seniors, 50 of them in total in a program. And 3 years ago, we also put together a Department of Labor registered apprenticeship program, so that when our students finish high school, they can go right to Ivy Tech, continue to get their associate's degree. And after I believe it's about 1,000 hours of schooling and 5,000 hours of on the job, they can get their journeyman's card. So we just had a really huge emphasis for the last 4 or 5 years.
And it's interesting too, because through this kind of technician education pathway, the ATEP that you call it,
correct,
2 locations, high school juniors and seniors, and like you said, there's classroom, but then there's also hands-on training,
yeah,
and then that credit carries right over, and it's paid for as well by you guys.
Correct. They're getting dual credit in high school, so they're getting high school credit. They'll graduate from high school. But if they're with us their junior and senior year, I believe they have in the area of 30 college credits when they finish high school to move over in to get their associate's degree.
And it's, you hear from a lot of people in the service, service and parts industry that, like you said, you can poach technicians from other places or, hire, but a lot of times if you train your own, they don't come with any problems, right? They know how to do it the right way, how to do it the Chariot way,
Yeah.
and they're equipped for your culture.
Yeah, we're really excited about the future. Like I said, we have 50 high school students. They take the education with an Ivy Tech instructor, but it's at our dealership. There's a classroom at our dealership, and then we have a little lab area at each store that they can go out and work in the lab as part of their education. But we also have 17 technicians or apprentices in the Department of Labor apprenticeship program as well. And we have, I believe there's 3 or 4 that have now transferred onto onto flat rate tech. They're on their own, and they're doing really, really well. So it's not an immediate solution, but we're convinced that 5 and 10 years from now that we're going to really make a difference for ourselves and even in Indiana. And we've taken on 3 dealer partners that are in our area because we're interested in making sure these students have internships and summer employment. So we're getting some dealer partners to come with us that are going to take on a few of these students and put them to work, and then they can, they'll be there. Ideally, they would stay with them, get in the apprenticeship program, stay working with them, and then they help them grow their technician base as well. So yeah, we really have a vision that this is going to make a real difference in our industry.
Yeah, right. You're planting some good seeds that are going to bear fruit
Yes. Yeah.
soon enough. And it's also nice that you're bringing some dealer peers along and getting them
Correct.
involved, because it's a program that can be replicable anywhere in the country. Really, you just got to find the right partner, like you have with Ivy Tech.
That's one of our visions, and our focus is really to make this replicable, so that we can do it in other areas and help other dealers do it. But with 50 high school students, a lot of these students want to go to work, and while we can employ a big number of them, we can't get them all. So we want to try to help get these students jobs, and for the most part, Dan, they're really driven, sharp kids. And we're real excited about the way this is playing out.
Yeah, it's a great program. It's it's needed in this industry, and like I said, we write about it all the time, about not only the shortage, but then efforts like yours to try and kind of curb that shortage. And you're kind of attacking it from the high school and the the kind of this junior college ways as well.
Correct. Yeah, when they finish the apprenticeship, they are pretty much like we have all the Chrysler level 0 through 3 and the GM training. That basically encompasses all of the technician training to get them leveled up with their training when they finish that program. Depending on their pace, it might be a 2 to 3 year window. It could be 5 or 6 for some of these guys, depending on how fast they go.
Just great work by Chariot. Rex, thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, and look forward to talking to you again sometime, Dan.
Rex Gingerich is the owner of Chariot Automotive Group in Lafayette, Indiana. He spoke with our own Dan Shine. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Jake Neer, in for Kellen Walker. Thanks to automotive news journalists Hannah Lutz and Irvach Kakaria for their reporting for today's podcast. We also had reporting from Kurt Nagel of our sibling publication, Crane's Detroit Business. You can get the latest news on service and parts, U.S. regulations, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back over the weekend for our Weekend Drive edition of the show. Our own Omari Gardner joins me to talk more about the impacts of the proposed budget bill on automakers. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.